No, actually, that is not true. The thing is that, anyway, if I start, then
Okay, let Padmashree.
yeah, Padmashree is going to mix up us.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait till she comes. So and I sent another big video of 1 hour 33 minutes or something like that.
I've seen that also.
Oh, very nice. But were you able to see?
No, I was not able to.
Okay.
I was busy yesterday.
Okay, no problem.
Other one I was.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, it's the same only, but it is more experiential. Some people are sharing their experience. So.
Yeah. And after that, in the night, I found another one who is an Indian and he has tried, and then there's another one which I wanted to send. Then I thought that it will be too much. It would be seeming like I'm promoting psychedelic drug.
Yeah.
Actually, I was surprised that how come you have sent that to me.
There is a message in it. That's why I think it's that.
Yeah, there is a message, and I want to hear from Padmashree also before I open the cat and say what was. There she comes.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Padmashree. Padmashree, you are muted.
Good morning, Jonas. Good morning, Lata. Good morning, Bhatt.
Okay, so did you see the videos?
Yeah, I saw 2 of them. The last one was too big for me.
Okay. No worries. So there is a reason why I sent, so which I will tell you later. But right now I want to know, Padmashree, from you, what did you do from morning of Saturday to evening or night of Sunday?
A lot of household work and little bit of office work.
Okay, like let's start from, let us say, what time you generally wake up?
6.
Okay.
Weekends, say 6:15 or 6:20.
Okay, let's say from 7 a.m. Right? So if you go by hour, can you be able to say what did you do every hour?
Yeah, I can say, but it will not be very interesting. It's all mundane activities.
No, I'm not worried about interesting or not interesting. If not hour by hour.
I remember what I did.
Okay. Fine. So how much time was spent in, let us say, food? Preparation of food and all that.
Preparation of food, not more than 1.5 to 2 hours.
Okay.
Actual preparation of food.
Okay, but buying, then shopping and other things, another 1 hour?
No, mostly it is cleaning. Yeah. Saturday, Sunday is largely spent in cleaning, and I did a little bit of gardening because the plants were growing so much, and we don't have any community people coming and doing anything because of the lockdown. So I had to do a lot of things. I went to the terrace. I have a little bit of a garden in the terrace, so I had to go there also and clean some things.
Okay.
So lots of cleaning activities I did.
Okay, that was on Saturday. How about Sunday?
No. It was distributed on both
the days. Okay.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay, thank you, Padmashree. How about you, Bhatt? Saturday morning to Sunday night.
Saturday morning to Sunday night, it was very interesting for me. One is that cleaning the house. Each and every fan I climbed and cleaned. And lights and all that, you can see some dust right from the top.
Yeah.
Then, in between I was watching spiritual related interesting. And then Friday evening was very nice. It is Pavamana Sutta Veda. It was very nice for 1 hour. And then I bought one jackfruit, from one village. They are not able to sell now.
Right.
So it is 150 rupees. It's worth of 600 rupees. So much of inside. And then I love that cutting and the cleaning and all that. Then preparing up to dish. That is my wife did. We from jackfruit we make a lot of dishes. Payasam and then
Correct.
that kadubu and all that. Everything is prepared. Yeah. And then I watched the videos. I immediately after lunch, because the daytime I was very busy in this, all that. So afternoon, just after lunch, I was watching the videos. I don't know, I fall asleep. Then when it reached the end, again, I realized that, okay, I was listening but suddenly disconnected. Again, I watched. But I thought, how come, what is the spirituality in this? I was thinking that, why I should watch this after watching? What is the message I am getting? Like that I was thinking. Probably I have not fully understood. That is also possible. If it is some Sanskrita sloka and some meaning and all, it's easy for me to understand. This was something in a not of my taste. But I watched. Then I have understood after watching second one. And then today, yesterday night and today morning, I watched that Sadhguru's, because it comes automatically in the YouTube. And the Sadhguru was talking about that this is something happens in the south part of America, and it is really not good that way. You should not practice that way. Like that he was talking. Then I thought, let me ask the clarification from you, what exactly the purpose, why did you send that and all that. From the spiritual point of view, I am all the time, whenever I do my work also, I remember you and I remember the spirituality. Means practicing. Whatever we have studied so far, you are different and this material is different. Like that, I was able to differentiate clearly between me and outside. That means detachment, basically. I was able to do that. I was thinking, why I am still attached to that jackfruit taste? Because I am from native place. I was thinking, why? And there was no answer. I wanted to detach from that also. It is very many favorite things. That way, awareness was very high. Then as usual, today morning, everything is back to normal. Morning, waking up, then Veda and all that, standard. I have mopped my home fully. Yesterday, day before yesterday, and today morning also. It was very good exercise. I felt I am very light, full energy, and everything is perfect for me. It was very, very nice.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. How about you, Lata?
Yeah, more or less the same thing. Cooking, cleaning. Then also a little bit of time spent with my daughter. She wanted to speak to me sometimes. So she was speaking to me and I was just looking at her and listening to whatever she's talking about. And then a little bit of talk with my husband on that spiritual stuff. And then most of the time I was spending on this Yoga Vasishta. So I was reading that. And then I realized that there are some portions which I don't understand. So then I stopped it and then I was thinking about it. And then you have sent those videos. So I was reading those, going through those videos. And then I was thinking about it and this default mode network. So whatever we have, so how do we react in different situations? So I was contemplating on it. So whenever I am doing something, I'm in the kitchen or somewhere, whatever I'm doing, I'm just thinking about it. Sometimes office stuff also comes, so that time I'm not able to shut off, but still sometimes office things comes, and or some other stuff, some other household stuff also comes, but in between this also comes. So I like that you have been then I was once I was watching all these videos. These are all big videos, 1 hour, 1.5 hour one video was there, and then I got, I don't know, some next one came, some persons, I have not seen that person's video before, but I watched his video. So that was also 1.5 hours. So I was going through that, and there's one good thing which was explained. First, there is some passage in some book, so he was reading that, but then the gist of it is, first, if you are not having the doership, if your doership is not able to get rid of that, then comes the love and compassion. If you are not able to come to this love and compassion, then comes the moral values. If you are not able to establish the moral value, then the religion comes into place. It's a beautiful explanation. So step by step was mentioned. So I was going through his video, but then anyway, after watching 1.5 hours, I was not so much interested in watching any further videos of him. But I did one or two of those. And then I was thinking about these videos, whatever you have sent. And then I was thinking, okay, we are struggling so much to get those experiences. And by just taking some substance, it is easy to get this kind of experiences. That's very amazing, actually. I think maybe olden days people would have used it. That's what they say in the videos also. Even here in India, they used to call the Soma. Correct. So that also has been mentioned. So it is there somewhere and it has been in use. Thing, but I guess it is no harm in using it for medicinal purposes, not for
recreation.
Simply get a kick of it, recreational purposes. So that's what I feel after seeing all those videos, especially the third video where people talk about their experiences and how they got rid of their diseases and this mental trauma and so on. So that was very interesting, the third video.
Yes.
The first two videos are only explanation of what it is, but then the third video is once you the people who have taken it and for what reason they took it and then how they got rid of their problem. So that was very interesting too. So that's the thing. So most of the normal activities only for weekend, cooking, cleaning and talking and all that stuff.
Good, nice. So from the story so far of 2 days, we can clearly have one state of consciousness, that is usual state of consciousness, or that's what is the default mode network is all about. That means the neurons which are actually chitta, and they are firing and connecting to the same thing. There is no change. So that gives a deep sense of security for the ego. So there is an identity and we don't want to get rid of that identity. 1 second. So we don't want to get rid of that identity because that makes things very easy. So Saturday, Sunday, if we were to look at, except for Lata who has done something different other than the normal, and also but trying to see the video and getting confused that why have I ever sent that, and some Vedic thing which anyway he likes it. So we are on to the default mode. Default mode means that what has been conditioned over a period of time. So scientifically also they are able to prove that the default mode always be there. So in the 3 videos, or at least 2 videos, if you see that there is a need to change the default mode. Okay, that is called as altered state of consciousness. So we have 2 modes then. One is which is by default conditioned by the tradition or by family or by society or by one's own previous vasanas which have come, and only those chittas will keep on firing. So let's say my school or my home or my education, then my wife and the son and my job and my career, my money, my health, my food I like and the food I don't like, the people I like, the people I don't like, then like that. So Padma Shri made a very interesting comment on Thursday or Friday, I think so, whatever, when we were having a good discussion, she said that she wants peace. And so I thought, let's understand what is this peace and what is happiness, and I sent that video. So coming to the peace which we want, let's say, it's what that samadhi will give you, that peace. It's not tranquility, but it is peace. And that is what nirvana is all about. So if we want peace, then we need to alter the consciousness to disconnect it from the sense and sense object. The senses are going to stay, but the identification of sense objects will change. So in the altered state of consciousness, the same eye will not see the same sight. It will see something different. The same ear will not hear the same sound, but it will hear something different. Like that, all the 5 senses, including the mind, which is also a sense. So now, that is what is called as peace. Now, what is happiness is the mind which is there, which science believe is in brain. But if you talk to spirituality, it is not in the brain anyway. So the consciousness is not in the brain, and the consciousness is also not in the body as such. And also the same thing with mind. So let's take the scientific approach, what is generally considered as true. So the consciousness is in the brain and the mind is also in the brain, just for illustration purpose. And then we see that for that happiness to arise, the condition has to be met. The condition is only one single condition, that is contentment, santosha. And if we have that santosha totally developed in the heart, then you have happiness. What it means really is all material value should be 0. And then only you can have contentment. Like what Bud said, that he mopped the floor and he did this and that, and he did to perfection. So there is no happiness. You can't be happy. And there is no peace. So because it is more sense oriented, there is a sense of pleasure or a sense of displeasure. Like the video what I sent maybe have made but a displeasure, that why is he sending this, what is the need and all that. And the daily chores what we are doing, the mundane or whatever we are doing, including office and all that, can be pleasurable, can be displeasure. So there can't exist anything called as a happiness, and because there is no happiness, there is no peace also, because after happiness you get peace. So if you're not happy genuinely, or if we have conditioned happiness, that if I mop the floor well, if I were to clean the house well, if I were to do this well, and then I'm happy, and that is the default mode network. So first thing we need to understand, scientifically or medically or technologically or whatever it is, if we were to look at the artificial intelligence also, that is how we are creating intelligence. Meaning, say that a machine language would put some algorithms which will make it feel something where it is not. It is the code which makes that feeling possible. At the max, I can make it feel something because there is a code written there, and that feeling, what it is getting, even if we were to get that feeling for that robot or whatever it is, or to that machine, it is still conditioned by the code, by that algorithm. So now we need to do something about altering the present state of consciousness. Something has to be done. So now let us look at the methods. Okay. In the Vedas, there is Soma Rasa or Soma. So that is equivalent to the psychedelic thing, what is there. But we don't know how to create that. We'll leave it for time being and will not talk about the Veda because that becomes something else. So let's understand what all options do we have. The first option is mantra. So we need to have a devotion towards something and utter the mantra, which then creates vibration, and that vibration creates heat, and that heat will enable the brain to function differently. Meaning the neurons are going to fire itself in a different way than the default way. So if I were to go by that approach, then the mantra approach, then there are two things which I can do. One is the normal chanting, wherein I can chant 108 and 1008 and 10,008 and 1,08,000 and something like that, which helps in making it as 9. And the 9 sequence is the one which creates an energy particle. So the more the energy particles I generate, the chittas or the neurons will disengage from the synapse where they're making a connection, and they will make a different connection than the default. So at that point in time, I get an euphoric experience because of that mantra. So there are root mantras, that is bija mantra, and there are constructed mantras which are called as chandas. So I can utter the chandas, and because of that meter which is constructed, it has a potency, and that potency alters the state of consciousness. So this is one way. I just do that. Now the mantra is not working because it has to be initiated by somebody. Otherwise it's not possible. So basically I need to find a teacher who can initiate me that mantra. Now I am told from my young age to say, let us say Ganesha mantra or Shiva mantra or Vishnu mantra or Shanidev mantra or Anjaneya mantra or some mantra, let's say, and it is not initiated. And anything that is not initiated will not work. So we are on still a default mode network, and we have added this also along with that. So as soon as the child comes to 1 or 2 or 3 years of age, the parents keep on telling it to go to the God's room, or maybe a mosque or a church or this place of worship, that place of worship, and they think that the deity is going to do something, or that wall is going to do something, or the cross is going to do something, or something is going to happen after doing all of that. So the condition is created, and that becomes another default mechanism. So as soon as a deity is seen, the mind with association of the chitta will fire accordingly, and then the person recognizes that this deity is a Lakshmi, and that deity is Hanuman, and that deity is Vishnu, and this deity is Srinivasa, like that. And a particular mantra is given, and you just utter it, and you keep on doing that. There is no change there is no alteration done in the consciousness. It is just a default state of consciousness. So if we go to Tirupati or Mecca or Jerusalem or wherever they go in search of that deity or that god, just because they are there, they feel euphoric, but it is not there. Just like when Bhatt went to Kedarnath trekking and then he felt very happy. That euphoria is gone the moment he stepped out of that place. Okay, now there is a chemical called DMT. Okay, and that is the one which creates euphoric experiences based upon the quantity of dopamine and also the quantity of the serotonin secreted by the brain. So the DMT normally is happens at the time of birth and happens during some creative act done, like the trekking or bungee jumping or some altered state of consciousness that creates the DMT more, and that secretes the dopamine and serotonin. But then during death, so every person undergoes a beautiful experience of death at the time of death, even though he is suffering on the body, but the DMT will ensure that that is not felt at all. So a person feels at the time of death that somebody is calling him, and there is a light, and there is steps, and he's walking down the stairs or climbing up the step, and there is he will see some fire, or he will see some god or angel coming and picking him up, and all that happens because of DMT. Now, this was known to the rishis long time ago, and they knew how to do it. So that answers on how the Vedas was narrated to the Sapta rishis, because you can transcend the Mula Prakriti, which is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and then you will have experiences which are beyond the default mode network. What we are doing is default, and what we have to do is altered. So one is the mantra, and the second one is the yantra. So you need to have an instrument like or something like mandalas. So you can have 9 mandalas or 18 and 56 and 108 and 1008 and like that. You have various mandalas, various combinations of mandalas with 4 petals and 8 petals to 16 petals to 36 petals and 72 petals and 108 petals, like that. It keeps on increasing. So we can have different petals and different colors. So we can have ruby color or pink color and violet color, blue color, yellow color, red color, and so forth. So we can create those, and we can be printed or made or etched on a copper plate or a silver plate or a gold plate or whatever that can be done. So that is the yantra. So when the yantra is purified or it is initiated with ritual, then the yantra and the mantra will give that energy, which will basically help the person to have experiences whenever that yantra he is trying to use. So dimethyl tryptamine, DMT, again gets generated when he does something different. So he has visions, that person has a hallucinating experience of somebody coming and talking to him, and an angel coming, or a god coming, or a sage coming, like what Lata was mentioning some time ago, that some sage had come or some sages had come when she thought that she doesn't have to attend this class anymore, or some time back she had shared that information. So that is because of the serotonin increase in the brain and the dopamine getting in a very nice quantity. So there is a euphoric and a very vivid hallucinating or vivid dreams experiences, wherein even today she has that blue color and yellow color and some light and this that coming. So she has been able to do that altered state of consciousness somehow. Whereas in the other cases, that might not be the current state. The current state still remains the default setting of the computer, the way it was given. So that is about yantra. Then you have tantra. So in tantra you have kundalini, the major one. So there is this ida and pingala, which are the two nadis which has to be purified, and that flows through the sushumna nadi. And when it flows through that nadi, the colors and everything, perception of reality changes. So again, the DMT along with the changes in the serotonin secretion and the dopamine will basically create these vivid imagery and vivid experiences, which is true. It's not that it is false, because that is an altered state of consciousness. And from Muladhara chakra to the Anahata chakra, a person experiences a roller coaster ride as big as what he can experience. Meaning, if there were in the world anything as a huge roller coaster ride, this will be that one, whichever we call it as a humanly built roller coaster. It would be like a small child play. A 5-year-old doing a roller coaster in its home. It is putting something and it goes around and round and round. This will be a real fascinating, fearful, complicated experience. And from Anahata chakra to the Agnya chakra, the 3 chakras from there, that is Anahata included, Anahata, Vishuddhi and Agnya, the person goes through a real lightning state where every part of the body gets charged up. And there is this light floating around everywhere, wherein it makes one feel that the sunlight is nothing in front of that. The harsh sunlight, the core of sun is nothing when compared to this. And from Agnya chakra, where the Trikuta is, where the Ida, Pingala and the Sushumna are going to meet, and from there to the Sahasrara, it is complete peace. And when it touches Sahasrara, you don't require anything. So this is about one of the Tantra method, which is the Kundalini. So this is what we can do basically. And then there are scriptures, so we can read Bhagvadgita, we can read Veda, and we can utter the mantras of the Vedas, which ultimately, or which is supposed to be changing the altered or altering the state of consciousness. And like that, we have many things. So we have the reason why somebody wants to do Bhuta Shuddhi is because that he has to alter the state of consciousness. So through Bhuta Shuddhi, you do that, or through Chitta Shuddhi, you can again do that. So spirituality doesn't believe in substances, it believes in mantras. So the best of the mantra which can change the or alter the state of consciousness is Om. That is not Om as Om, it is Ma. That in a proper way, if it is said for 108 times, and you have to multiply that by 9 all the time. That means I first start with 12, then 24, and then 12 into 9, 108, and then again I do 108 and 108 and 108. So I need to dedicate for that psychedelic kind of experience. It's like doing all the waking hours, 16 to 20 hours in a day, multiplied by a few years, and then I have that lightning experience. But it is possible through Om. If that is not the one, then I have to find a Tantra teacher, then he can teach me the Kundalini yoga, which will tell me how to do that. Then there is Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which will teach you different mudras, different bandhas and different kriyas, and then that is the kriya of touching the palate of the tongue to the tip of the starting of the tongue where you get amrita. That is nothing but psychedelic automatically created at that point. So it drops like if you have gone to Shiva temple, you will find that there is a kumbha and there is a water falling on the linga. It's exactly the same what you will see in your throat. So you have to do that mudra. So that is Kechari mudra, and then you have to really work it out. So you need to find a tantric and hatha yogic teacher who can do. Now we come to basically what we are doing. That whatever we are doing is very slow, and you will not get an altered state of consciousness until this becomes a full-time exercise. Meaning, if we were to do it all the time, all the waking hours, all the sleeping hours, then you can alter the state of consciousness. So then, unfortunately, we have to come to psychedelic section. Meaning, you have to take some drugs, like what I had sent. It can be LSDs or ayahuasca or anything of that kind, and then you do it. And in India, instead of going through ayahuasca of South America or LSD of English and all that, what they have done is that they smoke chillam. If you have seen any of the Naga sadhus, they keep on smoking chillam. So that has the marijuana and different kind of herbs which extract the marijuana's the high syndrome, which will increase the serotonin secretion, and the dopamine will reach its peak, and the DMT will start getting released. So chillam they smoke continuously, and because they do that, they have a real psychedelic experience, or rather spiritual experience. So all the Naga sadhus whom you find, they smoke chillam. So they know how to prepare that also in the right quantity, and the teacher teaches them how to prepare it. So by smoking that, what really happens is that you can change your body composition. So by being naked, they don't feel cold, they don't feel heat, they don't feel anything at all. So even though they are completely nude, so they can stay like that in a environment like Badri or in Kedarnath or wherever, or in the Himalayas. They don't require any clothing because the chillam will take care of that. So the basic aim or the basic idea why I sent you that video is because we are in 18th chapter, and in the 18th chapter the expectation is that you have had or you are having the altered state of consciousness experience all the time, and then you are ready for liberation, because now you have seen what to be seen. There is no need to see anything else. That's all what it can provide. So one, it has provided a default state of consciousness, and now you are in a altered state of consciousness. So you have seen both of them. So you know that there is no point in going through the default state of consciousness, because it is so mundane, so dirty, so ugly, so worse, so ill, makes you ill. It's literally, it is worse than a shit. So you basically feel disgusted about it. I mean, you know for sure that this is nothing. It's so horrible, it stinks. Whether it's a job or it's a family or whether it's a home or it's a whatever it is, it stinks. It's so ugly. It's so disgusting. Even a second of stay there, it's so filthy. So you now have altered the state of consciousness and you want to be in that. And now you find that this altered state of consciousness is also conditioned. Because it is altered. It was previously that and now it is this. You have reached here because of purification of chitta or the bhuta or both. However, now the second video what I had sent talks about what Padma Shri was talking about, the surrender. So the ego self literally dies, whether it is psychedelic or whether you do spiritual, like what we are trying to do. When the altered state of consciousness happens and it stays for a long period of time, the ego dies. That means the death has already happened. There is no longer anything called as death because the person is already dead. So there is nothing more to kill him than what he is already killed off. So all his vairi, that is kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, which created that self, is completely gone. It's only the consciousness which remains. The mind is literally gone as far as the identity goes, as far as that thing called as I is completely lost. So it is evaporated. So in the psychedelic case, it lingers for some time and then that person is in fear or is in ecstasy, but it is driven out of these substances. Whereas the spiritual ones, they stay permanently. So now that he is dead, he doesn't associate with anything. And not being able to associate with anything, the consciousness cannot re-establish. So if the consciousness cannot re-establish, that means there is no birth. And because he's already dead, so there is nothing called as birth. So because the birth and death is eliminated out of by altering the state of consciousness, this person is liberated. So what we need to understand out of this Bhagavad-gita 18 chapters is Arjuna's mental state was temporarily suspended by these worldly actions. He got confused because he is supposed to be the most straightforward person. And that's the reason his name is Arjuna. So Krishna's aim was to remove that ignorance from his mind. So what we need to understand is that when the Bhagavad Gita was narrated to Arjuna, there was no war going. They were yet to start. So how many days it was like that, or what they were doing and what those people were doing while Bhagavad Gita was being narrated to Arjuna, we don't have to go into that detail because it makes no sense to know what they were doing. But what we can understand is that till the Bhagavad Gita ended, Arjuna was not doing anything except for giving complete himself to that. So presently what we are doing is, we are not doing that. We are doing our normal default mode network. And once in a while we listen and we hear, we do something and we engage in some spiritual or some talk or something like that, which actually makes no difference to the consciousness because it is default mode consciousness basically. So the consciousness is by default attached, or it is giving the mind the experience of what it wants to identify with. So it wants to identify with a wife. Okay, here is your wife. And I want to identify with a home. Here is your home. I want to identify with the bank balance. Here is your bank balance. I want to identify with my job. Here it is. I want to identify with my health. Here it is. So like that. So basically we are working at a normal mundane level of consciousness. But what we want is a transcendental, or rather an altered state of consciousness. So that means we have to do something about it. What is that something? So I'll give you some suggestions of those something. Number one, you can do meditation of taking Om as a thing or any other mantra, but please remember, Om or any other mantra has to be initiated. It cannot be done on its own. Even the Gayatri has to be initiated. So any mantra which has to be done has to be initiated, and the initiation should be done by that person who has himself experienced something. If that person has not experienced anything and is just giving that, just like what we do during Upanayana, wherein some priest, he will utter something in the ear of that person, and his father also utters that Gayatri mantra in the ear, that will not do anything, except that is a mantra is there, very good, so that's just a vibration, beautiful, but it doesn't alter the state of consciousness. So that teacher whom you are trying to find should have the most attractive eyes and the most attractive voice. Meaning, if a person were to hear that person's voice, he should get mesmerized. And if a person were to see the person's eyes, whom you think is your teacher, who can initiate into it, should be having the most attractive eyes. What I mean by attraction is that he is so pure that you just want to submit to that person. And he should know how to do this, how to invoke the mantra, how to remove the bija, how to insert in the consciousness, and how to make it grow. This he needs to know. And the sadhaka has to at least minimum spend 21 hours out of 24 hours on this. He can only sleep for 3 hours. And he has to have one time lunch, and that's it, nothing else. Then the bija mantra will start working. Otherwise, the person is fooling himself. Meaning, the teacher is fooling himself, and the student is also fooling himself or herself. So, this is one of the option. And this is for japa and tapa, because both has to happen so that the altered state of consciousness can be got. Second, you need to meditate. So now, after japa and tapa, one needs to meditate, and that meditation after this has happened, because the bija will get into effect and it will start showing when the person gets into dhyana, because now he has done dharana, so it's completely established in him, that mantra is established in him. So now he is going to do dhyana, and in the dhyana he gets that transcendental or altered state of consciousness experiences. So how many hours he has to do dhyana? It's 24 hours. No less than 24 hours. That means the whole day and the whole night, next day, like that, because he is in samadhi. He doesn't require anything. There's no food, there is nothing else required, and that person is completely immersed in that transcendental experience. So here again the dopamine and the serotonin does a beautiful job. It suppresses the hunger. So dopamine the dopamine secretion at a certain level will reduce the serotonin, and the serotonin secretion at a certain level decreases the dopamine. So they then help the person to have a suppressed hunger. There wouldn't be any need for him to go to the toilet or to the washroom for any given reason, because all of that will get suppressed. So the brain will stop sending signals to any one of these parts of the body. So then he establishes samadhi. So this is the thing what the person has to do. Then his state of consciousness is completely altered. And he lets go of all his filthy things what he was doing in his life. Because now he has seen what is the reality. Okay, this is the second way. And then there are theory, which is Viveka Chudamani, then Aparoksha Anubhuti, then this and that, because there is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana happening. So you need to find an appropriate teacher. You need to find an teacher who has a good voice and a good eyes, who can see what his shishyas are doing, and he himself should have got established into that. Or, if that's not possible, then you have to take substance, which is not good. So going in that route is not good, but I sent it just to show to you that we need to work towards altered state of consciousness. What we are doing now is have the same state of consciousness as it was yesterday. It is so today and is going to remain tomorrow. The only addition is that we have gained knowledge of something, and that doesn't give us satisfaction. Then what we do is we start searching for somebody else talk, and we listen to that or read something or do something. So we just becomes like a collector series. So I collect this, I collect that, and in my museum I am going to keep all of this. So in my mind museum I am keeping all the Vedas, all the Upanishad, all the puja, all the this one, all the bhakti, all the devotional stuff, and this stuff and that stuff, and all of them are there in my museum. So I'm feeling very happy that I have stored all of this. It looks so nice. So whenever I want, I can go and pick it up. I can read. I can put on the player. I can listen. I can do this. I can do that. And I can recite. I can say it correctly. And this one and that one. So that ego, which was supposed to get completely wiped out, is there in the default mode network. So that was the sole reason for sending you, because like I said, the 51 and 52 verses I shared with Lata. I had asked her to read it, and she had an eye-opening experience from her own thing. That so I had asked her, how do you think I should teach it? Because it says, the 51st verse says that you should not be using any of the five senses. And the 52nd verse says that you should not be working on anything. Simple. So how do I teach? Was my question. So then I gave a thought. I was wondering what to do. How to help all of us to realize what is there and what is not there. What is not there is what we are doing today. What is there is what we have not experienced. So that psychedelic drug shows that what you have not experienced is what you are going to experience. And that's a trip. So when you experience that, you will stop having, or you will have vairagya towards this experience what we are having today, because that is unreal. So in that way, Shankara was 100% right. Jagat mithya. Because this is a mithya world. What you are seeing is not what truly it is. And what you see there is what truly exists. But it is camouflaged here. So now you have to go by spirituality, not by drug abuse or anything like that. So don't think that I'm trying to promote that or say something about it. I just wanted to say how it works. So scientifically also it works on the dopamine and serotonin and all that. And we have neural networks. So we know how the neurons fire, and those are the chittas. And we know about chitta thousands and thousands of years ago, before science are starting to call it as neurons. Doesn't matter what it is called as, but there is a connection, and we make connections, or the brain connects based upon what the mind is trying it to do. So if we are purifying, then the connection is one way. If you are not purifying, the connection is another way. So presently, all our consciousness are distorted. To feel what we are doing today is the only reality. There is no other reality, but we want to know what that reality is by theory. The problem here is that there is no theory for this. It's practical. So you have understood the theory. By now we have done we have done Aparoksha Anubhuti, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, then I also spoke about the other works of Shankara, then that is Yoga Taravali. Then we are now in Bhagvadgita. Very soon after ending this, we are going to go to Viveka Chudamani. So we can keep on collecting the knowledge, but might not have any altered state of consciousness experience at all. So I don't know how to proceed further, to be honest, except that I can give discourses like what others do. So another way of thinking I got on Sunday, that is yesterday, is that I will do what others do. Just explain what that shloka is, and slightly deeper level, and that's all. Be done with it, rather than worrying over how to teach or how to say that. Because anyway, those people who are talking on the internet, they are not worrying about what will the people think. They're just translating it, and they're making it with some examples, giving that. So I was wondering, why should I be doing so many different things? And just live with that. Just do what is required and be done with it. If they want to experience, they will experience. If they don't want to experience, they will not experience. So I thought like that, and I still thought that, okay, if somebody out of the four of us wants to really alter the state of consciousness, well, here is the option. So we can do Om, we can do using the breath, we can do it. Kundalini is another one, so we can do many things, but we have to settle with either yoga or Tantra, and then we have to decide what is our option and choose the mantra which will really help us to progress wherever we want to progress. And that's it. I've spoken almost for 1 hour without giving any room for any one of you. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, so interesting thing. So you have summarized it pretty well. What we need to do, we need to have a mantra. For that, we need to have a guru, and it has to be initiated, and then only it will work. Okay, so that is the first step, and then only then you can go into this meditation, the deeper meditation, and then you have to do that 24 hours. So then the third, okay, then also you mentioned about this theory and scriptures, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So that's what we are doing right now.
Yes.
Isn't it? Shravana. And then we have to do Manana, and then we do Nididhyasana.
Yes.
And okay, so I think if we are not able to get the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, then I guess we have to keep on going back to Shravana.
Yes, that's all we can do. Yes, that's all.
Till the time you get it. So
yes.
There is no other. And it is impractical for all of us to sit and meditate for 24 hours. I don't think any of us can do that.
Yes.
Maybe Vilas, you can do it, but I don't know whether 3 of us can do that. So So the only way for us is always go via this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And then at one point of time, the real Manana happens. And then you would start understanding at a deeper level. And then the Nididhyasana can start.
Yes.
The real Nididhyasana.
Yes.
So unless and until you get that realization within yourself, not by only hearing, but then by yourself you understand it, then only the Nididhyasana can start. Initially, my understanding of the Nididhyasana was different. So I thought that whatever you do the practice, that is Nididhyasana. But that's not the Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana can start only when you start experiencing something for yourself.
Yes.
And that's when you really start the Nididhyasana. So then for us, I think we have to go back to Shravana and then take different texts and keep on hearing. And one day that Manana will really happen.
Yes. So I'm willing to do that and also explain deeper whatever it is, except for Bhagvadgita 18th chapter, which is not a good thing to go deeper on liberation. Rather, I will restrict myself to realization. And then maybe sometimes when we all are realized, then going back to 18th chapter and re-looking at it would be an interesting experience.
Yeah, that is true. Those 51 and 52 verses are really good. So when you sit for meditation, you can, to some extent, close off all the senses. That's true. The sight and the sound and all that. But then in the mind, it keeps coming up. The past impression, the past joys and sorrows or whatever it is, whatever you experience. That has to be closed. And that can be closed only when you change your default mode network.
Yes.
So this was the wow thing which I felt when you asked me to read that. Because this is exactly what I was trying to do, but I didn't know how to do. Because you can see when I am observing, I've been observing my mind for last 1 year. So you can see it is predictable where it goes. Based on whatever things come from outside the situations, it goes into that particular way. The same particular feeling, the same particular emotions, and it runs in the same grooves. So I've been looking at how to change that groove. And it is not an easy thing to do because it is so ingrained in you. It is a sense of what you are right now. So it is very, very difficult to change that.
Yes.
So that's what I've been trying to do in different ways. So when I was reading that, okay, it struck me so nicely that, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and it is written in Bhagavad-gita and kept.
Yep. That is correct.
And the 52 verse means, okay, then I was wondering, how that can be done. So once you establish like that, then there is nothing you should do. That's what that verse says.
Yes.
Completely leave off everything and then only be in this. So that's something which I'm not sure how to do. But anyway, that default mode is not broken up. So then
there is no point in talking about 52.
But then I was also thinking, it took me 13 years to find out that the default mode has to be revived.
Yes, that's good. At least you found out.
Yeah, but then I think everybody has to be finding that for themselves. So then only it will sink in. If you tell, I don't think it will make any difference.
Yes.
So, but then I was just thinking, 2008 onwards, I'm struggling to reading different things and spending a lot of time to come to this state, to understand that this default mode has to be changed. Even though it was not known to me that it was termed as default mode, but then I was observing myself. And when I was looking, I can also feel the patterns over the last many years, how I have worked. There's the same pattern.
Yes.
And those patterns has to be changed. So that's what I'm trying to do. And at least even in small settings you can do. In your own home also you can do. You behave in certain way for certain things and then you try to look at it in a different way. So, okay, let's see. Hopefully that will work out for me sometime.
Perfect. Let it happen. Anything you both have, Bhatt and Padma Shri?
It's a nice summary done by Lata. Yes, we have to do the transformation within ourselves. After so much of study, what is done. Bit of practice, yes, we have been doing, but without compromising on our day-to-day routine. What is needed is it's a dhyana, that is very clear, meditation, and meditation will guide us that what is the next step for us. For that we need to do the meditation. We have to increase the meditation from the existing 1 minute, 2 minutes to maybe much more than that daily basis. It may be very good to have something like initially full meditation of 15 minutes fully focused, then increase to 30, maybe 1 hour will add real values. Till then it is theory and nice enjoying the spiritual matter through our intellect is very comfort feeling. But when we go back, we are almost like doing the same routine work. For raga, dvesha and all those things, we don't have so much control there. It is the same way it is continuing. Meditation is the only one answer. I understand your frustration. Yeah.
No, I am not frustrated.
I think I'm thinking that now I should reserve some time every day for meditation only.
Yeah, so I forgot to add another thing in that solution. There is this Vipassana, if you have heard about it. There is the center in Bangalore and other places also, where they do 10-day retreat and 20-day and 40-day and 80-day, 100-day, 200 days or something like that. So they have different retreats where they will make you not speak at all for those many number of days, and you do meditation for 14 hours a day with 2 breaks. Okay, and you can stretch your leg or fold your leg or however you want to sit. You can keep on changing postures, but you are going to sit in one place and do it. So that is if somebody were to do like that, there will be a good altered state of consciousness. And there are many others like that. So even in Dr. Alva.
So Vilas,
yeah,
directly going to that level of meditation from means we are moving from something like 0 level suddenly for 1 week doing. So that kind of things will not work, right?
It doesn't
like
work.
All of a sudden we are applying pressure.
Yes, it doesn't work.
In a natural way, it should come.
Yes, that's correct. But then it's just like that psychedelic drug. So you do like that, and you find that bliss, or you find that altered state of consciousness. And once you get back to work or get back wherever you were, again the same thing happens. So again, you have to go for a retreat for 15 days or 30 days or something like that. So people keep on doing.
Best thing maybe that full moon day, practicing for longer time, or those auspicious days where you have more spiritual energy, cosmic energy coming into us.
Correct, but the problem with that is that somebody has to be there along with you, because then the more the people join in for the meditation session, especially on the full moon day, the energy level is high. If you were to do it all alone, either you will sleep or you will not be able to do it, because mind is connected with full moon. Unless our mind is pure, you will not be able to do it. So that's another challenge. So we need to get over the challenges, whatever we have, and then do it. So the reason, again, why I sent you is not to make any one of you drug addict, but wanted to give you a picture of what is the one we are trying to experience, right? And okay, and then Padma Shri's words was ringing in my ear, that 2 things really was ringing in my ear. One is she wanted peace, or knowing what is peace, or she doesn't feel that she doesn't want to plan anything. That was the first thing which was ringing in my ear. And the second one, when we were discussing about bhakti, and she was in a firing mode, which I really love whenever bhakti comes into existence. And that is one part of Padma Shri. I really love it, because once she starts giving blows, it is so nice to hear. So then I wanted to say, what is bhakti all about? Because Bhatt has one view of bhakti, and Padma Shri has the right view of bhakti, which is surrender. I just wanted to show how to see surrender. What is surrender? So in that, 2 clips or 2 videos, even though it is something to do with psychedelic, but that is exactly what happens, that you lose yourself. The self is gone. So even Hare Rama, Hare Krishna is something like that. So if you really practice it well, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, that ISKCON way of chanting, it will, in 3 hours time, if you were to keep on dancing, after some time you forget all about yourself. You become one with Hare Krishna. So even though it is a cult, it is so nice actually.
Yeah, with the 2 videos that I saw, I felt the same thing. Meaning it is something which is, in this case, it was used, some substance was used. In one case it was the mushroom, the other case it was the one which is found in Peru, that one plant
Correct.
extract. One plant extract they did it.
Ayahuasca.
Taste? Yeah, I didn't get that word.
Yeah, it's okay.
So in both the cases, there is something which will tell you that you should not think your normal self, and you should move away from thinking that normal self.
Yes.
Actually, that I was not calling it default mode network, but basically I want to. That's exactly what, when I say peace and I want to stop thinking the way I am thinking, I don't want to plan. I basically want to go into that
State. Yes.
non-standard way of thinking.
Correct.
Correct. Because
So
today my mind is so tuned to doing that again and again.
yes.
I want to move into not doing that.
Yeah. Instead of calling it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Padma Shri. You go ahead.
So I felt very this one with those 2 videos. Only thing that I did not know is I have understood about psychedelic, but only thing is I didn't know about this being legal, illegal, and all those things. And I thought this was also a part of the ones which is used for recreational. This one I thought it belonged there, but then there was a difference that was made. So I was wondering what it was, and I have a feeling all the people who have been in even now they say in Tiruvannamalai and all, there are caves where there are people who have been living for, I do not know, they don't know their age themselves, and they are not seen by everybody. Somewhere, sometime they are seen by some few people.
Yes.
I have a feeling that mostly these people must be having some kind of this one. That is why they are not having that feeling of coming out and living a normal
True. Very true.
life.
Yeah. So one change
This is
we.
what I felt when I was seeing the 2
Correct.
videos yesterday. I didn't see the 1.5 hour one, but
Yeah.
the remaining 2 I saw.
Yeah. If you find time, I mean, for both Bhatt and you, if you find time, I request you to see that 1.5 hours without pausing. You just see that it's so nicely put across. So that's a good one. And instead of calling it as default mode network, what we can do is we can put it as a default consciousness and an altered state of consciousness. So default is what we are doing today. So there's no peace. And altered state of consciousness is where peace is. So now we have to make a choice between the default or the altered. So, and we can continue on our 18th chapter tomorrow. As usual, we will complete this chapter. My biggest problem today is not, I'm not frustrated. My biggest problem is how to teach or how to talk about 52 and 50, 51 and 52 without experiencing it. It's just like giving a example of the psychedelics. What will happen when you have the psychedelic? There is no example to be given. You have to experience it. So similarly is the 51 and 52. So that made me think, because this is one thing I'm able to experience, but how to share that experience, I'm able to share that experience. In fact, I had indicated how to cut the sight and the sound and taste and touch and smell, and what all did I do, I could explain. But beyond that, I cannot get you that experience to you, unfortunately, no matter how much I come up with examples or whatever it is, because that you have to get it for yourself. So I was wondering, how do I just talk? And then I was thinking also that the books have been written, like, Bhatt has a book, and I think everybody has that Bhagvadgita book, irrespective whether it's from Chinmayananda or ISKCON or whichever brand it is coming from. And but the English translation or Kannada translation or a Tamil or a Malayalam or whatever translation is there. They might have experience, they might not have experience, but they have translated it. So why don't I teach it like that? Why am I hell-bent on experience? So I let go yesterday of that. So tomorrow we'll continue.
Okay, good.
Okay, any further questions on this? So if you have time, we can continue for some more minutes, otherwise we can disconnect.
No, my default mode network is on. I have got a lot of work.
Okay. Fine. All right. So we'll meet with the 18th chapter continuation from tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Okay then. Thank you.
Thanks, Vilas.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.